Celia and her cosmic cat. Zipto was no ordinary cat. With his bright green fur and thick-rimmed glasses perched on his nose, he certainly stood out from the other felines on his home planet of Zarconia. Zipto wasn't just unique in appearance, he also possessed extraordinary cosmic powers, like the abilities to manipulate time and space. As a kitten, Zipto realized he was different. While the other kittens played with furry toys and chased robot mice, Zipto snuck away to experiment with his budding powers. He found he could make clocks spin backwards and teleport short distances. As he grew older, his abilities became even stronger. By adulthood, Zipto could warp the fabric of reality itself. Zipto's owners, a kindly Zarconian couple named Melpo and Rema, encouraged him to develop his gifts. Soon Zipto was renowned across the galaxy for his otherworldly talents. Alien species would visit from far-off planets just to meet the famous cosmic cat. But Zipto grew weary of the attention and longed for adventure. So one day, without telling anyone, he focused his powers and teleported himself to the planet Earth. Zipto's molecular structure shook violently as he passed through a wormhole in space. Moments later, he landed gracefully on his paws in a dark, foul-smelling alleyway. Zipto didn't know it yet, but this fateful trip would change the course of human history. As Zipto strolled out of the alley, his sharp feline senses were overwhelmed by the sights and sounds of the bustling human city. Vehicles honked as they zoomed down smog-filled streets. People walked by hastily, eyes glued to strange glowing boxes in their hands. Tall buildings of glass and metal pierced the sky in every direction. What an exciting new world! Zipto spent hours eagerly exploring, ducking into side streets and climbing fire escapes to observe the chaotic urban landscape. He was saddened to see many homeless people, often children, digging through dumpsters just to find a bite to eat. One girl in particular caught Zipto's attention. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old, with tangled brown hair and a smudged face. With no parents or home in sight, she rummaged through the garbage searching for scraps. Zipto felt his heart ache for the lonely, destitute child. That night, as sleet fell from the dark sky, Zipto followed the girl and watched as she curled up shivering on a vent grate. He had noticed humans didn't react well to a walking, talking cat. So he used a touch of his power to make himself appear like an ordinary alley cat as he approached. The girl looked up, surprised to see another living thing out in the terrible weather. "Hey little fella, you look cold too," she rasped in a small voice. She picked up Zipto and wrapped her tattered blanket around them both. Her body was frail and shivering, but her embrace was warm. Zipto nestled close and purred, comforting the girl as she finally fell into a fitful sleep. From then on, he knew he had to protect this young human. Over the next few weeks, Zipto remained hidden in his alley cat disguise, but never strayed from the girl's side. She called him Mr. Whiskers and shared meager crumbs from the food she found. At night, Zipto would use subtle bursts of his power to lead the girl to safer places to sleep, like shelters and church alcoves. He distracted threatening figures in shadows before they could spot her. His green eyes flashed under the disguise as he tapped into ancient cosmic energies to keep her from harm. One chilly night, the girl took refuge in an abandoned warehouse. As she slept on the cold concrete floor, Zipto suddenly sensed danger. A notorious local gang burst into the building, snarling and brandishing weapons. They had come to ransack the place for goods to steal. Zipto reacted quickly. He shed his alley cat illusion and stood tall on his hind legs, eyes blazing green. The stunned thieves froze as Zipto emitted a pulsating cosmic force from his paws. Tools and debris whipped around the warehouse. Before the men could scream, Zipto psychically swept them off their feet and catapulted them out into the street. Dazed and bruised, they ran off in terror. The girl was shocked to see her cuddly feline friend wield such raw power. "Mr. Whiskers, what are you?" she stammered. Zipto knew it was time to reveal his true identity. He removed his glasses and, in perfect English, gently explained that he was no ordinary cat. He told the girl of his home world Zarconia, his cosmic abilities and his desire to help her. At first the girl was frightened by the fact that her companion was an alien cat. But her fears soon melted away and she embraced Zipto, thanking him for saving her life and giving her hope. Together, they cried joyful tears for neither had felt such kindness in so long. From that day onward, Zipto mentored the girl he now knew was named Celia. Zipto used his cosmic wisdom to teach Celia important survival skills. He showed her how to safely collect recyclables to sell for cash. He helped her find shelters and food pantries. Bit by bit, Celia gained confidence under the tutelage of her strange furry guardian. After months of hardship, Zipto and Celia had finally earned enough money to rent a tiny apartment. It wasn't much, the roof leaked and mice scurried in the walls, but to them it was a castle. Celia decorated her bedroom with drawings of outer space planets. This was her first real home. Over the next few years, Celia blossomed from the timid girl Zipto first met into an intelligent, driven teenager. She stayed focused in the local public school, knowing education was her ticket to a better future. Zipto filled her head with tales of cosmic wonders, nurturing Celia's natural curiosity. But as Celia grew more aware of the wider world, her heart ached thinking of all the people still suffering in poverty. She dreamed of a way to help. But how? The wheels of government turned slowly. Many politicians seemed corrupt and self-serving. Celia confided her frustrations in Zipto, who pursed his furry lips and nodded thoughtfully. The answer is often found by looking to the stars, my dear girl, he said in his raspy, otherworldly voice. The cosmic cat had an idea that just might work. Zipto encouraged Celia to pursue her interests in science and technology. He became her mentor, passing along ancient Zarconian knowledge of physics, astronomy, and engineering. Celia soaked up these lessons like a sponge. She began building inventions in her bedroom, small robots, homemade batteries, code-breaking devices. One night, Zipto brought Celia to an empty lot downtown. He told her to close her eyes and turn in a circle with her finger pointed out. Focus your mind and walk straight ahead, Zipto instructed. Celia did as he asked. When she opened her eyes, her finger was aimed exactly at the stars of Orion's belt in the night sky. Zipto said, "There lies Sirius, the dog star. Concentrate and let the cosmos reveal the answers you seek." Suddenly, Celia's mind overflowed with a vision, advanced technology and decimal calculations spinning like a galaxy. In a flash, she conceived plans for an extraordinary machine. Over the next decade, Celia worked tirelessly to turn her vision into reality. With Zipto's help she gained university scholarships, training herself further in fields like astrophysics and engineering. Meanwhile, Zipto stealthily funneled his cosmic powers into Celia's projects when no one was looking. Finally, after years of obsessive labor, Celia's inventions stood complete in a secret laboratory. It was a towering ring of polished metal and glowing electronics. This was the portal, a doorway between the fabric of space-time itself. Celia attached a power source and the portal thrummed with resonating energy. The ring inside began to swirl with mesmerizing cosmic colors. Celia's calculations had worked. This technology could transport matter to anywhere in the universe instantly. Zipto grinned proudly at his protégé's accomplishment. But Celia was not interested in personal glory or fame. Since childhood she had dreamed of finding a way to help people in need. She aimed to use her portal for that purpose. Zipto knew exactly where they should go first. On the night of a new moon, when the skies were at their darkest, Celia activated the portal. Zipto led her through, molecules vibrating wildly as they passed the cosmic threshold. They soon emerged upon a small, icy planet far beyond our solar system. Zipto had discovered this orphan planet long ago. Once similar to Mars, its atmosphere had frozen and all life perished. But it had the potential for renewal. As Celia stared out upon the deserted frozen plains, she knew this planet could be a second chance for humanity. Over the next year, Celia and Zipto made hundreds more trips through the portal. On her birth planet, Celia recruited willing volunteers, scientists, engineers, botanists, and doctors. She offered them the opportunity to populate this new world. Her one condition was that they help construct the foundations of a compassionate, egalitarian society. There would be no class of ultra-rich exploiting the rest. Resources would not be hoarded by the few. Celia was determined to avoid the pitfalls of her home planet. The new settlers agreed and began the arduous work of terraforming. Thick blankets of the atmosphere were reactivated. Giant mirrors were constructed to heat the surface. The ice melted into rivers, lakes, and oceans. Seeds were planted to release oxygen and sprout alien forests. Soon the once desolate planet teemed with life and activity. Multicultural communities prospered in peace. Without politicians to corrupt, people learned to communicate openly. Knowledge was shared freely. Anything lacking could be requested through the portal from home. Celia's heart swelled seeing children thrive on this new world she had helped create. Those growing up here would not know the pains of poverty she endured as a child. This planet, which they named New Hope, would be a chance to redeem humanity. Of course, none of this would have been possible without Zipto and his cosmic powers. Away from prying eyes, the Ket used his abilities to rapidly accelerate the terraforming. Secretly he helped manifest construction materials for the New Hopians. The colonists worked hard, but Zipto's abilities hastened the planet's rebirth. While cultivating New Hope, Celia eventually married and had children of her own. She made sure they grew up staying humble, helping the community thrive through innovation. Now a respected elder, she watched proudly as her descendants advanced New Hopian civilization. One day, Celia's great-granddaughter Celia came to her with an idea. Celia was a neuroscientist who wondered if a collective consciousness could be created among the population. She theorized that if everyone's minds were wirelessly linked, empathy and understanding would spread. Celia was intrigued by the concept, though cautious of potential pitfalls. After careful thought, she gave Celia the go-ahead to develop the technology, under Zipto's supervision. Celia worked tirelessly in her laboratory. Finally, the first hive mind prototype was ready. Volunteers had nanosensors implanted in their brains to link them telepathically. At first, it was disorienting as their individual thoughts merged into one. But soon, an amazing sense of connection emerged. With this technology, people could feel and experience the emotions of others as if they were their own. They could walk in each other's shoes, simultaneously the hunter and the prey. This allowed true empathy to blossom planet-wide. Understanding and compassion reigned supreme. Before long, the hive mind network spread planet-wide. People willingly joined, longing for the profound unity they witnessed. Bigotry and greed melted away as each person felt bound to their neighbor in mind and spirit. New Hope had become a global consciousness, the first of its kind. Celia smiled knowingly, for this had been the vision she held in her heart since childhood, life without fear or want. She thanked Zipto for guiding them to this moment, this great leap forward. She hoped word of their experiment would travel through the portals to transform her home planet as well. And so the wondrous invention of the hive mind became a defining milestone in New Hopian history. Later planets colonized through the portals implemented similar collective consciousness networks. In time, much of human society transitioned to communal telepathic coexistence. Celia's humble act of compassion long ago had blossomed into an awakening that spanned worlds. What became of Earth after the founding of New Hope, you ask? At first, governments tried to suppress Celia's inventions, afraid of the implications of her technology. But the genie was out of the bottle. Once humanity knew that new frontiers were open to them, there was no stopping the momentum. Rebellions and protests erupted demanding reforms and access to the portals. When militaries threatened lethal force, massive labor strikes paralyzed nations. With no workers, economies screeched to a halt. Riots raged in the streets. Sweeping political changes followed. Progressive coalitions toppled authoritarian regimes. New international councils were formed, aimed at benefiting humanity rather than serving the powerful. Celia humbly emerged as a respected leader calling for peace and unity. Within a few turbulent decades, society was irrevocably transformed. Fossil fuels were abandoned for clean energy. True clean energy that came from the Dyson sphere, thanks in part to Celia and Zipto's help. Wealth was distributed more evenly. People from all backgrounds could now traverse the cosmos, seeking out new worlds and opportunities. Over her long lifetime, Celia watched as humanity shed so much of its ignorance, cruelty, and isolation. She knew in her heart that Zipto had been right about looking to the stars for guidance. Each night she would go out to her balcony and gaze up at the twinkling firmament, imagining her dear friend gazing back from his home world. By the end, Celia Green had become one of the most celebrated figures of her age. Worlds beyond number were colonized through an ever-expanding network of portals, with many opting to utilize the Hive mind due to its tremendous benefits. But she never saw herself as more than that little girl huddled in the alley so long ago, whose life was forever changed by an extraordinary green cat from the stars. Though Zipto eventually returned to Zarkonia, his influence endured across galaxies. The love and wisdom he showed a vulnerable girl altered humanity's destiny to one of hope and compassion. Statues of the cosmic cat now stand on planets throughout the known universe, reminding the cosmos that a single heart filled with courage and care can illuminate the darkness. The end. What did you think of this story? Let us know in the comments. Have a wonderful day.